My community, where every voice matters and every story counts.
Si solution kuti bazimwambo bafunika vakasi kenga kwatu maskills kwamne vachitako vanzao so that vashandize command government vangagwira nchito maningi chabe tingaita appreciate vakazi vamuna vonse vaonongeka.
Counseling sessions for our youths that are people who are using drugs, and also we have a clinic at the University Teaching Hospital.
So
from youth empowerment to health, education, development, and the everyday challenges affecting our people, we bring the community closer to the conversations that inspire change. Watch My Community right here on Bmtv every Sunday at 17 hours. Keep watching Bmtv.
Good evening. Welcome to the BMTV main news at 18 hours today, the 11th of May, 2026. We bring you the stories that matter when they matter most. We're live on Topstar channel 114, streaming on Facebook via BMTV channel 114, on YouTube as BMTV Zambia, and online at www.bmtvzambia.com. Wherever you are, because the news must get to you, and thank you for choosing us. Tonight, we keep our focus on the following headlines plus more. Minister Siakalima launches new education policy, competence-based assessment tools. APAC raises alarm over NEMA fallout as health centers terminate contracts. 7 taxpayers to face prosecution over non-usage of smart invoice. While in international news, Madagascar presidential election scheduled for October 2026. And in sports, swimming glory and athletics mission for Team Zambia. And now to present the news in detail, my name is Tamani Nkata. Minister of Education Douglas Siakalima has officially launched the National Education Policy 2025 and competence-based assessment tools aimed at transforming Zambia's education sector. Speaking during the launch in Lusaka today, Minister Siakalima described the policy themed Shaping Tomorrow's Future as a historic shift and the first comprehensive review of Zambia's education framework in nearly 3 decades, replacing the 1996 policy Educating Our Future. The minister said the new policy seeks to improve access, quality, equity, and relevance in education while preparing learners for technological advancement and global competitiveness. Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary Administration in the Ministry of Education, Noriana Muneku, said the launch marks a defining moment in Zambia's continued efforts to strengthen and reposition education for future generations. Ms. Muneku said the competence-based assessment tools developed by the Examinations Council of Zambia will support effective implementation of the competence-based curriculum in schools. More details from the following report.
Quality, inclusive and relevant lifelong education and skills training for an empowered society. It introduces key reforms focused on universal access and participation, quality and curriculum relevance, equity and inclusion, system efficiency through the 4 to 6 to 4 to 2 structure, digital transformation in schools, and learning systems, partnerships across all sectors, positioning Zambia as a regional center of educational excellence. Now I want to tell you, just 3-4 days ago, I received the application. They want the Zambian teachers. Rwanda wants our Zambian teachers. Mozambique, Seychelles we already supplied. And who else? Eswatini. Yes. They want our Zambian teachers. So you must understand the quality of education. If Rwanda, which is highly sophisticated in terms of development, They want our teachers. It tells you one thing. How much, I can see the standards so kudos go to you, because when they come here, they interview about our teachers, and everything sells them.
Solomon Ngoma says the organization is deeply concerned over the growing crisis surrounding the National Health Management Authority, NEMA, following reports that health centers across the country are terminating contracts due to persistent non-payment by government. Mr. Ngoma said the development threatens to destabilize the healthcare system and compromise access to essential medical services for thousands of citizens relying on the NEMA scheme. He said the termination of contracts represents a breakdown of trust between healthcare providers and government, warning that patients who believed they were covered now face uncertainty, while health facilities struggle to sustain operations. Mr. Ngoma has since urged the government to urgently settle outstanding payments, restore confidence in the system, and implement structural reforms to ensure NEMA operates sustainably and transparently. More details from this clip.
We are deeply concerned as an institution by the unfolding crisis surrounding the National Health Insurance Management Authority, NEMA. Across the country, the health centers are terminating their contracts with NEMA due to persistent non-payment by the government. This development threatens to destabilize the health system and jeopardize the access to essential services for thousands of citizens who rely on the scheme for their medical needs. The termination of contracts by health facilities is not merely an administrative issue. It represents a breakdown of trust between service providers and the government. NEMA was established with the promise of ensuring equitable access to health care for all Zambians, and yet the failure to honor financial obligations has left hospitals and clinics unable to sustain operations under the scheme. Patients who believed were covered now face uncertainty, while providers are forced to absorb financial strain or withdraw altogether. This situation undermines the credibility of the health insurance system and risks eroding public confidence in government-led health initiatives. As an institution, we emphasize that health care is a fundamental right, and the collapse of NEMA contracts is a direct threat to that right. The current impulse has created a dangerous vacuum where citizens are left vulnerable, unable to access care they were assured would be available. The ripple effects of this crisis extend beyond individual patients as the broader health system faces disruption, with providers struggling to maintain services and the communities left exposed to preventable health risk. We wish to advise the government that it should act with the urgency to resolve this crisis. Immediate settlement of outstanding payments is essential to restore trust and stabilize the system. Equally important is a transparent communication with stakeholders, including health providers and the public, to rebuild confidence in NEMA. Without decisive intervention, the scheme risks collapsing entirely, leaving behind a legacy of broken promises and unmet needs. Structural reforms must also be considered to ensure that NEMA can operate sustainably with accountability mechanism that prevents such breakdowns in future. As an organization, we call upon policymakers, civil society organizations, and wider public to recognize the gravity of this situation. The health of the nation cannot be compromised by administrative failures or financial mismanagement. The swift and decisive action is required to safeguard the lives of Zambians and to preserve the integrity of the healthcare system in Zambia. The well-being of citizens must remain at the center of national priorities, and the restoration of NEMA's credibility is a critical step in achieving that goal.
The Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, is in the process of prosecuting 7 taxpayers for willful failure to comply with smart invoicing requirements, which include usage. The prosecutions are part of the ZRA's intensified smart invoice enforcement program, which is targeting to boost the usage of smart invoicing systems for all registered taxpayers. The ZRA stresses that failure to issue or the issuance of non-compliant invoices outside of the mandated electronic system is treated as a serious tax violation with penalties, the Value Added Tax Act. While over 44,110 businesses have already adopted Smart Invoice, registration alone is no longer enough. Usage must be consistent, accurate, and timely. To increase usage of the Smart Invoice, the Zambia Revenue Authority has increased field inspections to ensure all eligible businesses are using Smart Invoice correctly. This includes issuing notices to entities with irregular usage or gaps in transaction reporting. Taxpayers failing to issue smart compliant invoices face penalties, including fines of up to 120,000 kwacha or imprisonment of up to 3 years. Every smart invoice carries a ZRA issued QR code. This can be scanned to verify the authenticity of the invoice. Issuing a smart invoice is no longer just a regulatory requirement. It's part of how Zambia business is done. Adopting it as one step, using it correctly, consistently, and confidently is what will protect your operations from disruptions as a result of non-compliance. Former Patriotic Front acting president Maus Sampa has officially welcomed Brian Mutale into the Council of Presidents under the newly formed PF-TND Alliance. Mr. Sampa has also announced Chitalu Chilufya as Vice President for Administration, while the other positions are yet to be revealed. Our reporter Sontwa Morris Sinkala has more details in the following.
Days are crawling as the election month approaches and politicians are gearing up their campaign mood, packaged in what is termed as manifesto. This is a time the country hears words of hope, restoration, and national development from those with intents to lead the country. Sunday, the 10th of May 2026, saw the formation of another political alliance by the opposition. Despite the party having other political alliances such as Tonse Alliance and Pamosi Alliance, Maus Sampa, who is the faction leader of the Patriotic Front, thought it prudent to have a different alliance named PF-TND Alliance. This alliance consists of PF Maus Sampa-led faction and the Development Freedom Party under leadership of Brian Mutale, who seeks to work with the PF. Speaking during the unveiling of the PF-TND Alliance, Sampa described the coming on board of Mr. Mutale as a significant step towards strengthening opposition unity ahead of the 2026 polls.
Of the opposition, they want unity. I said, this time around, I'll sit back and I'll not stand as president, so that we reduce the numbers of people pulling on top. Amen. Because the more they are on top, the more we are giving a free ride for HH.
He says the alliance is focused on rebuilding the Patriotic Front and mobilizing support across the country through what he terms as a people-driven movement.
Us, it's not about money. Us is about helping the next person. We did not come in politics to become rich. We worked hard in the banks, made a bit for our children, then we've come to help others. You never found Maus Sampa to store this. He was at Ministry of Finance, he was mayor, you never found one scandal.
Mr. Sampa further announced former Health Minister Dr. Chitalu Chilufya has been appointed as Vice President for Administration. Mr. Mutale expressed gratitude for being welcomed into the Council of Presidents, saying the alliance represents hope for Zambians seeking alternative leadership.
This time enough is it? Enough! They don't for Trevor Bonferelo, Bonsaba. Avera Maus Bonsaba. Kaibete Bonsaba. Everybody Kukawawa. Abanomba Pakawawa Teba Youth. Each Panches Development Freedom Party, Shishileneka, Ninsa, the mobilization chairperson was one national at Youth Kucharwain. Then Munaving it a Mamush, but don't forward Kelvin Sampa.
Reporting for BMTV News, this is Sontwa.
The Ministry of Health has today, 11th of May 2026, unveiled the 2026 National Health Policy and its implementation plan, a framework aimed at strengthening healthcare delivery and improving maternal and child health services in the country. Government says the policy is expected to guide the country towards the attainment of universal health coverage through improved access to quality healthcare services and enhanced health systems nationwide. More details in the following clip.
The Ministry of Health has today unveiled the 2026 National Health Policy and its accompanying implementation plan, a strategic framework aimed at strengthening healthcare delivery and improving health outcomes across the country. The event, held at the Mulungushi International Conference Center, was officiated by the Minister of Health, Dr. Alex Katakwe.
Of diseases, on one hand, the communicable diseases such as HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria, and these continue to affect and impact communities. On the other hand, non-communicable diseases, including cancers, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and mental health, continue to increase. In addition, we are confronted with emerging public health threats, including pandemics and growing impact of climate change on health outcomes. These realities demand a more resilient, responsive, and inclusive health system.
The policy focuses on enhancing access to quality health care services, improving maternal and child health, and strengthening the country's health system as Zambia moves towards the attainment of universal health coverage. Government says the implementation plan will provide a clear roadmap for the health sector with emphasis on equitable health care services, disease prevention, and improved service delivery across all provinces.
A national development plan and global commitments, including the Sustainable Development Goals. As government, and through this framework, we are committed to strengthening multi-sectoral collaboration to address these determinants of health in a holistic manner. To effectively respond to the challenges identified, the policy outlines several strategic priorities.
Stakeholders from the health sector, cooperating partners, and government officials attended the launch as discussion continues on strategies to build a healthier Zambia. Reporting for BMTV News, this is Sontwa.
We break off for commercials and return with international news. Stay with us.
My community, where every voice matters and every story counts.
Uche, si solution kuti bazimwambu bafunika bakasi kenga kwa tumaskills kwa mne bashitako banzao so that bashandize command government fanga kulenchito maningi chabetinga ita appreciate bakazi wa muna wonse waonongeka.
Counseling sessions for our youths that are people who are using drugs, and also we have a clinic at the University Teaching Hospital.
So zopempatanizo anganitandise kocha bando msungako cha bero for 1 year penanga chinji.
From youth empowerment to health, education, development, and the everyday challenges affecting our people, we bring the community closer to the conversations that inspire change. Watch My Community right here on BMTV every Sunday at 17 hours. Keep watching BMTV.
Welcome back. You're still watching the BMTV main news at 18 hours. And now for international news. Madagascar's political transition is entering a critical new phase. The Independent Electoral Commission has unveiled a timeline for key votes, with a constitutional referendum set for June 2027 and presidential elections to follow in October. The first major steps begin next month, a nationwide overhaul of the voter registry, a process already drawing intense scrutiny after months of controversy surrounding the CERNI, despite the recent replacement of several members. The stakes are high in the country still reeling from last year's political upheaval. Colonel Michael Randrianrihana took power after deadly youth-led protests erupted over chronic water and electric shortages. Most people reject and accused of a coup, insisting power was legally handed to him by the Constitutional Court. He has promised a 2-year political transition under the roadmap unveiled in February. More details courtesy Africa News.
Madagascar's political transition is entering a critical new phase. The Independent Electoral Commission has unveiled a timeline for key votes, with a constitutional referendum set for June 2027 and presidential elections to follow in October. The first major step begins next month, a nationwide overhaul of the voter registry, a process already drawing intense scrutiny after months of controversy surrounding the CENI, despite the recent replacement of several members. The stakes are high in a country still reeling from last year's political upheaval. Colonel Michael Randrianrihana took power after deadly youth-led protests erupted over chronic water and electricity shortages. Randrianrihana rejects accusations of a coup, insisting power was legally handed to him by the Constitutional Court. He had promised a 2-year political transition under a roadmap unveiled in February.
Passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-stricken cruise ship MV Honduras began flying home on military and government aircraft after the vessel anchored in Tenerife, which is one American testing positive and a French traveler developing symptoms during their separate repatriation flights on Sunday. 17 Americans were flown out, and U.S. officials confirmed that one tested positive for hantavirus despite showing no symptoms. The passenger will be taken to Nebraska biocontainment unit, while others will undergo monitoring at the National Quarantine Unit. More details, again, courtesy Africa News.
Passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship have begun returning home aboard military and government aircraft after the vessel docked in Tenerife in Spain's Canary Islands. The first groups were flown out under strict biosecurity protocols, with one American testing positive for hantavirus and a French passenger developing symptoms during their separate repatriation flights, development confirmed late Sunday. U.S. officials say the American passenger who tested positive is asymptomatic and will be taken directly to the Nebraska biocontainment unit, while the remaining evacuees will undergo assessment at the National Quarantine Unit. French authorities meanwhile placed all 5 of their returning passengers in isolation after one showed symptoms mid-flight. More than 140 people were still aboard the Honduras when it arrived, though earlier assessments by Spanish health officials, the WHO, and the cruise operator indicated no passengers on board had shown symptoms. WHO officials continue to stress that the public risk remains low, even as passengers face weeks of monitoring and quarantine. Some crew members and the body of a passenger who died on board will remain on the ship as it sails to Rotterdam for full disinfection.
We take our second set of commercials. We'll be back with sports news.
New vibes with Bmtv. Get ready, Zambia, because Bmtv is about to bring you the hits with local stories, drama, comedy, and news that is all about you. Local vibes only. Catch stories from Lusaka to Livingston, towns to villages, Zambian stories told by Zambians. Drama and entertainment, from townships to trending shows, we have the best local content. News that you care about, local news, national pride, and what's happening in your hood. Your stories, our spotlight. We feature you, your talents, and your passions. Tune in now and let's vibe, Zambia. BMTV, Zambia's light, Zambia's voice.
Welcome back, and now we get into sports news. It was a memorable sporting weekend for Team Zambia as Zambia Swimming Union President Guy Piri won a gold medal in the 50 meters backstroke at the 17th Africa Masters Swimming Championship held in Oran, Algeria. The National Olympic Committee of Zambia has congratulated Piri on the outstanding achievement, which reflects Zambia's continued progress and excellence in aquatics. Meanwhile, the weekend also saw the Zambian athletes team depart for the African Senior Athletics Championships, scheduled to take place in Accra, Ghana, from the 12th to the 17th of May, 2026. The championship is particularly significant as several athletes will be representing Zambia at the level for the first time. Zambia Athletics has expressed confidence that the exposure and experience gained will contribute positively to athlete development and the growth of athletics in the country. The African Senior Athletics Championships remain one of the most important competitions on the continent, providing athletes with an opportunity to compete against Africa's finest, while also serving as a qualification pathway to major global events such as the African Games, World Championships, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, and other international competitions. As we wrap up sports, Red Arrows Football Club were crowned champions of the 2026 Absa Cup on May 10th, 2026, after defeating Power Dynamos FC 2-0 at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. The Airmen delivered a dominant performance through the final, controlling possession and creating numerous scoring opportunities against Power Dynamos. Their disciplined display and attacking intensity secured a deserved victory, earning them the prestigious domestic cup title. The triumph marks another major achievement for Red Arrows, who showcased consistency and quality on their road to lifting the 2026 Absa Cup trophy. We take a recap on the headlines as we wrap up the news. Minister Siaka Lima launches new education policy, competence-based assessment tools. AirPac raises alarm over NEMA fallout as health centers terminate contracts. 7 taxpayers to face prosecution for non-usage of smart invoice. While in international news, Madagascar presidential election scheduled for October 2026. And in sports, swimming glory and athletics mission for Team Zambia. On that note, we end this evening's news bulletin. Be sure to join us for more news. This has been Tamani Nkata. From our newsroom to your hearts, the production crew, Jackson Timbo on transmission, Douglas Banda on camera 1.